Wicked for Good has some insane behind-the-scene moments which explains the powerful performances. Wicked for Good may have been filmed alongside the first movie, but the sequel required its own massive dedication. The story takes place after the characters have grown beyond the University of Shiz, so everything, from tone to physical performance, demanded fresh energy. Like the first film, this chapter was deeply emotional, yet the cast intentionally tried to laugh through the heaviness. They kept saying, "Less crying this time, sorry." Even during fight scenes or heartbreak songs, they used humor to release the on-set tension. Still, the acting often felt so real that Ariana herself was shaken. Especially in the intense scene with Michelle Yeoh. Michelle was only acting, but Ariana got so startled that one of her contact lenses popped out, leaving both actresses cracking up afterward, but the set wasn't all intensity. Wicked for Good balanced heavy moments with lighter, joyful ones, such as the scene where Elphaba and Glinda dance with the wizard. Behind the scenes, the warmth was just as real. "I love this man," Ariana gushed, while Jeff Goldblum couldn't stop praising her. He said he was honored, thrilled, and in love with the whole opportunity of working with the cast. Despite the chaotic scenes their characters lived through, the actors had become a real family. One of the most remarkable things about that wizard scene is that everyone was singing live. And when the wizard floats upward, that was Jeff Goldblum himself, strapped into a rig and doing his own stunt after weeks of training. The scene was filmed in one long continuous take with no cutting, meaning the actors had to sprint, hide, reposition, and still stay perfectly in character, almost like a Broadway performance captured in real time. The flying scenes were equally ambitious. The broom sequence with Glinda and Elphaba used a custom-built ride, an engineering feat with tracks underneath, not cables above. Many assumed they were suspended from the ceiling, but they were actually lifted and moved across the room by massive machinery. Cynthia's chase scenes with flying monkeys were just as terrifying behind the scenes as on screen. Ariana and Cynthia often became emotional on set, remembering their very first screen test together. Cynthia took her commitment even further. She woke at 3 a.m. every day, not because filming began early, but to train for 90 minutes before sitting in makeup for 3 hours to transform into Elphaba. So by the time filming began at 8 a.m., she had already worked for nearly 5 hours, before performing her own stunts and singing live all day. Ariana was also known for being on set early and refusing to use a stand-in when lighting was prepared. Cinematographer Alice Brooks loved this because lighting the real actor makes the final result far stronger. One of the greatest challenges was the filming schedule. They shot scenes from the first movie early in the week, then jumped straight into the emotional peaks of the sequel days later. The constant emotional whiplash exhausted everyone, which is why they leaned on humor just to cope. Following the iconic 9 million tulips used in the first film, production added another 1 million yellow tulips specifically for Wicked for Good. The color yellow has a darker meaning here. The yellow brick road becomes a symbol of oppression. The wizard forces the Munchkins to extract yellow dye from tulips to build his road, turning a cheerful symbol into a mark of authoritarian control. Even sadder moments had fun touches on set. Glinda's wedding venue had to support both quiet emotional beats and an attack by giant furry rhinoceroses. Her Emerald City penthouse was one of the most technically complex sets ever built, filled with fabric-paneled walls, moving sections, mirrors, and geometric reflections for the song The Girl in the Bubble. Production designer Nathan Crowley compared its complexity to the spinning wheels of the Shiz library from the first film. Elphaba's forest hideaway went in the opposite direction: hand-woven materials, organic textures, intimate handheld camera work. Representing her connection to nature and her isolation from Oz society, makeup work reached new heights. Ethan's metallic transformation required hours of prosthetics and silver paint, and Jonathan's scarecrow design involved straw texture wigs and sculpted pieces that preserved Fiero's silhouette. The mechanical dragon head in the wizard's palace was entirely practical, suspended with chains, lit by curtains of lights, and filmed with multiple cameras to capture its dramatic reveal. Director John M. Chu infused the films with themes he grappled with during and after the pandemic: identity, home, and discovering the world isn't what you thought. He edited both movies early to reveal the full story arc and insisted the studio watch Part 2 without giving notes, ensuring he had freedom to push the sequel into darker, more political territory. Behind-the-scenes photos show Cynthia making silly faces, posing with the young Elphaba actress, hanging from giant rigs above the yellow brick road, and smiling green and glowing outside her trailer. The cast did most stunts themselves, though doubles helped with certain sequences. They even destroyed sections of the giant yellow brick road set for one intense moment. From the massive Emerald City sets built from the ground up to Elphaba's iridescent nails and intricately designed costumes, Wicked for Good proves that the artistry, engineering, and emotional depth behind the camera are just as magical as what appears on screen.